secrets, Kabbalah Explained Simply session. I discussed that there, how to develop that device. So it's the Kabbalah Explained Simply reveal secrets in 57 minutes, something like that. Post the link in the chat. Okay. Let's see what else. Okay, question from Crystal James. Gil, can you get everyone watching this show all around the world to stop for about 3 minutes and connect worldwide to say a prayer for world peace? Great question, Crystal. That's exactly what we're going to do now. We're going to do that not for 3 minutes, but for 30 minutes. We're going to be reading, connecting, and praying. That's the session today. So I think with no further ado, we can jump right into it. And I chose some excerpts from the book of Zohar. Some seem slightly harsh even, but let's remember that we're reading the book of Zohar. The book of Zohar was written from the deepest point of connection by Rashi and his students, and even more so, he said that the writing of the book of Zohar was written from states of Rashi's students being in war between them. And by discovering this war, they were then able to overcome. And feeling the state of war and being able to overcome it, that is the purpose of it. Then you discover A, the true desire in nature, B, the need for the force of nature to lift you, and C, the discovery of light out of darkness. So all of that we can do right now. Everyone, all around the world, men, women, young, old, all religions, Christian, Jewish, Buddhist, Muslim, atheist, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We're connecting above everything. Let's do it. And let's add a little bit of Kabbalistic music in the background to help us focus our attention. Zohar Beshalach 251. We should regard the words of the Torah. We should regard everything, because there is nothing in the Torah that is not implied from the high or good. And there is nothing in the Torah that does not contain several secrets, reasons, roots, and branches. 252. Anyone who wages a war in the Torah is rewarded with much peace at the end of his works. All the wars in the world are strife and destruction, and all the wars of the Torah are peace and love. As it is written, therefore, it is written in the book of the laws of the Lord. I have in Sufa, meaning love, in its end, soft in its end in Hebrew, and there is no love, peace, and that. Therefore, it is written in the book of the wars of the Lord. What is in the book? The Creator has a place called the book, which is marked. All the powers, all the deeds that the Creator does depend upon and stem from there. Okay, we're supposed to actually see this once. It writes, His holy ones without evil, which means the Holy One. Abraham, with whom the Creator always went, so that others would not be able to harm. But the wicked ones are silenced in darkness. Those are the angels that the Creator killed on the night Abraham chased them. Want to add something? Questions about should we read about the outcome of usual prayer? Please, just want to add one thing while we're reading to possibly help us sharpen our attention. So we're reading now the book of Zohar. So this is say the book of this is what can change reality. And when we do this together, we multiply the impact of this according to how many people we are. Because when we're not just reading the book of Isaiah ourselves, when we are connecting with other people, and all of us together are reading this book with the same intention, we're not only connecting to the source of this book, we're connecting to a much greater system called the collective soul. And this collective soul is our perfected state. This collective soul is the state that we came from and that we need to go back to. And when we are together, and the result, everything we do is amplified. So let's go back to reading and praying. Praying for what? For world peace. For winning the war. For winning this battle of internality versus externality. Of raising the importance of love above ego, above hatred. And that has the power in it to end all wars. Let's keep reading. Ayah 361, the book of Zohar, Mayor writes, a silenced darkness, which means night, Nukva, which was connected in the darkness and killed him. Abraham chased, and the night killed him. As it is written, and he divided himself against them by night, he and his servants, and struck them. And he divided himself against them by night. It's the Creator who split the Rachamim, mercy, from din, judgment, to avenge Abraham's vengeance. This is why it is written that the wicked ones are silenced in darkness, who struck them. However, it is the Creator who struck them. For not by force does one prevail, for he and Eliezer were alone, since Eliezer is 318 in Gematria, meaning the 318 who were born in his household that the writing mentions. Just a reminder, every single word here is not talking about this world, it's only talking about spirituality, and it's only talking about the forces that are within. And that's where everything can change. 362. Where there is harm, one should not rely on miracles. And there is no such place where harm is found as when Abraham went after the 4 kings, chasing them and waging war on them. Why did he rely on a miracle? When Abraham went into it, he did not go to wage war or rely on a miracle. Rather, Lot's anguish drove him out of his home, and he took money with him to redeem him. And if he could not redeem him, he would die with him in captivity. But when he went, he saw divinity shining before him and several armies of angels around him. Then the Creator chased them and killed them, as it is written, but the wicked ones are silenced in darkness. He will keep the feet of his holy ones, was Abraham. And when he went to fight the kings, Isaac bonded with him, and they fell before him. Had Isaac not bonded with Abraham, he would have been unable to destroy them. It is written, but the wicked ones are silenced in darkness, since it is not by force that one prevails. Although the force is always the right, Abraham. If the right was not mingled with the left, Isaac, the kings would not be defeated by him. 364. He will keep the feet of his holy ones. When a person loves the Creator loves him in everything he does, keeps his ways. As it is written, the Lord will guard your going out and your coming in from this time forth and forever. Okay, let's take a few minutes to help clarify our intention, help us basically connect. That's all that's needed. Let's see what we have. I say, first of all, that a lot of you are writing blessings in the chat, which is great. yourself, even a word in the chat, then go ahead, do so. Excuse me. So please do it. Connecting to my beloved friend, Boomer is writing. Yes, let's think of all of the people now who are experiencing great suffering in the world. Let's hold them in our intention everywhere in the world, especially in the war zone now. You know that there are millions that are suffering now in Ukraine, and not only in Ukraine. That's where the serious things are happening now, but all around the world there are people suffering, and all the wars, all the pain, they all stem from that same thing, that lack of connection. So let's take a few seconds, even without reading anything, just close your eyes and healthy focus, and let's just think of all of those people and everything and everyone that is in pain, and let's intend, let's pray for them. Let's pray that instead of pain filling reality, light will fill reality. Let's pray that we'll discover this light that is already everywhere, all around us. Let's do that together. Let's take a few seconds. Now, I see that you're already kind of naturally writing in the chat. I'd like you, everyone that's watching now, and now could be any point in time. It could be on 13th of March, or it could be in April, or in 2025. I don't care when. Now, you're part of this prayer, wherever now is. This prayer is above time and above space. I want you to chip in to this prayer by adding something. Let's add this prayer in the chat now. So add a few words. It could be a heart, it could be a word, it could be a sentence. Let's build this mutual prayer together. What are we praying for? What do we want to achieve by this prayer? Why are we praying? So I'd like to ask everyone to add something, to throw something in the chat, to participate, even just a heart, just participate. Show your intention by doing an action. I'll start with yogis. Let's pray. Creator shows us how to cover love, progresses in corporeal world, and makes our brothers as our brothers and sisters. Julie, I'm praying with tears. Ruth, amen. Francine, together. You, light. Sandra, peace. Louise, I pray for connection and love between us all. We are here with the same peace with you. Johnny Joseph, connection. Moon, goddess. Imagine peace is better to know life. Sue, pledge love to send on earth. Comedy famous, love will always be. Alan, blessing to you all of the world, all of humanity. James, let there be peace on earth. Louise, together we are mighty. True. And peace between all of us. Alexander, love, peace, together. Rick, I'm praying for peace and love for all. Mike, nothing better than joining together as ambassadors of love and peace. You know what I'm... So this is one of the regular broadcasts. We usually don't do broadcasts on Tuesday at all. But in light of the current times, that there was a positive force. Let's think of it as forces, because when we say God, then we usually start thinking about what we learned in Sunday school or at church or in the synagogue or wherever. And the law does use the word God or the Creator, but it only refers to a force. It doesn't refer to some humanized entity with a beard watching over and saying behavioral or will be punished, you'll go to heaven or hell. None of that exists in Kabbalah. It all refers to forces of reality. So the positive force of, we can call it love because we can understand what love is. True love, not fake love. The true love, that force created like an imprint, created a vessel, or it's called a creative being, or it's a vessel. It's today. It's called the soul of Adam Harishon. And in the soul of Adam Harishon, this collective soul, everything, all of creation, you could say anything that was created was that, nothing else. So this is all of the spiritual existence before we even had our world. Now, the collective soul, it's shattered. The collective soul, for those of you who are a little more advanced, it's in the world of I'm not going to go down to the world, but there are 5 worlds in total. It's and which is the first one. It's like the Kitover, but we're not going to go into that now. The collective soul was in the world of Atzilut. The collective soul shattered into pieces, 600,000 pieces in the world of Asiyah. Those of you who know what that is. And 600,000, because it's in the spiritual world, doesn't mean, don't imagine 600,000 pieces, think of it more as a qualitative measure. And then it further broke these 600,000 pieces of that same collective soul into what we are today. 8 billion or something. That's that number, humanity. So 8 billion parts of that collective soul. Imagine that. And each and every one of us, each and every one of you, has a little piece, the shattering of that collective soul. So our origin is being all connected, all as one, connected to each other, not only that, connected to this force of light and love. So in this state, light, love, fulfill this creation, this vessel, this collective soul. Now you might be saying, wait a minute, so the soul existed and it was already filled with light and love. Why do you need to change it? Why not? That's it. Sounds good, right? Who doesn't want to be connected, surrounded with the infinite fulfillment of light and love, right? So what happened? Something happened. It's not for the topic of this lesson, but in a nutshell, it's a breaking, a shattering, in order to enable a higher level of building. Just like you take a puzzle, right? With a puzzle. A puzzle is really shattering. You take a nice picture, you break it up into pieces. What for? It's already, the picture is already there. Why cut it up to 5 pieces or whatever? Right? It sounds a bit weird. So, because building the puzzle, it gives something extra. When you build a puzzle, I don't know, however many 1,000 pieces you do, and you build that, just, some image. It doesn't necessarily have to be something so beautiful. Just, I don't know, just imagine a boat in a river with mountains behind it, flowers, whatever. Nice. And if you take that very nice picture and put it on the wall, okay, that's one thing. It would be nice. If you build it out of 1,000 pieces and then put it on the wall, you probably feel some fulfillment from doing that. Something similar happened here. In order to give this collective soul the ability to rise even higher to the status of this actual force, then it broke it in order for it to be able to rebuild itself independently, consciously. Okay? So, if we follow what Kabbalah is saying, then you could say that the shattering, this state of shattering, which, to clarify, this state of shattering is the only cause for all wars in the world. It's not some Hamas terrorist organization. It's not some dictatorship army. It's not. Those are tools in a broken system, observed by our shattered perception. So the only cause is our shattering, the fact that we've been broken into pieces. And the symptoms of that are the horrors we see today in Israel and, in fact, all around the world over time. And these horrors are only a result of the fact that we are shattered. We're broken. And it's not that you're broken or I'm broken. Actually, not. You're perfect. I'm not, but you are. It's our connection that's broken. And in fact, I would say that is the only thing that needs to be done. The only thing. There needs to be any effort, any military effort, all of those things that need to be done in order to deal with the symptoms. So imagine that you're ill and you have some infection. So you need to take antibiotics, right? Antibiotics hits the infection directly. But you could have symptoms. You could have a rash. So you might want to put some cream on the rash, right? So putting on cream, it will solve your symptom. Just like using some military or government or political or anything like that. Kabbalists don't say, everyone should just forget it and sit aside. No, you got to do what you're doing in this world to deal with the symptoms, to deal with them efficiently and effectively, yes. But to know the root of all of this is one. Not we, but our connection is broken. That is the only thing that we need to fix. Okay. I'm going to take a quick pause, just look at questions. this is what Kabbalah say, and they maintain this. Don't put that until now it's clear. If it's not asked, in a moment, we'll keep going and we'll explain how reading the book of Zohar can actually bring peace to the world. So let's see what we have here in terms of questions. Maybe it's a good time to mention. I see we have viewers on Facebook and YouTube. Let's bring more people into this now. Let's have more people join us. Imagine the impact. More people together, reading this force, connecting to the force of light and loving reality. How can you do that? You can probably press the like, or if you can even share this video, that would be great. Even if you're watching this not live, the impact it has is similar, because spirituality is about time and space. So if you're watching this a week from now, a day from now, a year from now, you're connecting to that same frequency, and that frequency is about time. So let's take a quick look, see if we have any questions about what I've spoken until now. Okay. To be conscious, I was reading a comment because it's nice, it's hard work, and you're pardon me for chatting, but I really have to say, I really admire the spirit you hold right now, all things considered, much respect. I appreciate that. It is very difficult times here, and it's easy to fall kind of into, like pretty much like depression or despair. I feel now energized because I feel your connection and I feel your support, not for me, but support for the process that we're all going through together. So I appreciate that, and let's increase with love. Okay. So there is a question here, unrelated to topic. For now, I just want to focus on questions of what I explained. And okay, so right now there are no questions. Let's continue. Let's explain what the Zohar has to do with everything I just said now. Let's keep going. Okay, so this structure hopefully is clear. Now, let's just make some more room. Actually, let's keep doing this one. So I'm just going to delete this out. Actually, okay. Let's do that one. All right, so who are the Kabbalists that were in the book of Zohar? Rashi and his students. 10 of them, in fact. So imagine 10 of these broken, shattered pieces sitting together in a cave, wherever they sat. They connected. And by connecting, they became one with this reality. They became one with the collective soul, with the general force of nature. Call it the creator, call it light, call it energy, call it love, call it whatever you want. Just know that it's the positive force of reality. It's the plus of reality. Okay, and when they connected and together, they wrote this book. Every single word, every single comma, everything they wrote is a direct link to this reality. Okay. Now, when we read the book of Zohar, okay, so that's them. That's the Rashi and his students. 10 students who wrote the book together. And let's say now, 2023, October 17, Age Material World, we're going to open the book of Zohar. We're going to read some text from the Zohar. Now, reading the text isn't something that automatically brings a result. You see, in the academia, people study this text, so are they correct in their soul? No. So, what do we need to do? We need to be like these guys. We need to want to be like them. We need to want to connect to what they did. We need to read the book and every word hold the common intention to connect to here, to where they wrote it from. And these efforts of ours connected to here, they bring a response from that reality. They bring a response called the light that reforms, or the light that returns to good. Actually, I like that word better. It's a light that returns us to good, okay? That's what it is. Light that returns us to good. Not to have too much text here, but that's what this light is. This light influences us as we read. If we read together, we're amplifying its effect. Not twofold, but infinite-fold, 613-fold, or whatever. Why infinitely-fold? Because when we connect, every link in that connection, it's not that, okay, we double or triple, no. Every link, it strengthens our connection to this entire system. 600,000 shattered pieces. So when we read together, we intend to connect in order to be similar to that corrected state, to the state that we were in, to the collective soul, to our connection between each other, above differences, above religion, above nationalities, above languages, above ages, above anything. That effort of ours, it attracts this force on us. And even now that we're just talking about it, even that, if we're listening and we want it to touch our hearts, and we want it to influence us, and we want to be connected to that system, and to the Kabbalists, and to each other, and to the text, which they wrote from. The text helps us because the text is like it's encoded from that world, so it has like an additional force in it. And by doing so, we don't just draw light upon ourselves. We draw light on the entire system of reality, everything, the whole world. The whole world. When we sit here now, all of us together for around the world, like in a circle, think of it in your head, doesn't matter where we are, and we read the book of Zohar, and we want to connect to this state. We want it to influence us. We want it to wash us, to fulfill us, etc. By doing so, let's just make it this. We bring light, this reality, on everything in this reality. Everything, this entire reality is influenced by this light. That's why it says that a single person can shift the entire world to a scale of merit, or vice versa. Okay, so let's see what we have here. First of all, just take a quick peek, see if you have any questions, and then we'll jump right into reading the Zohar. Okay, so someone's asking, must the Zohar be read in a group of 10, or can one person read with the intention? Yes, as explained, one person can read with the intention. The 10 is a spiritual concept. Even if we're now 5,000 people together, we can be as one 10 because the 10 resembles a complete structure like the structure of the 10 Sefirot. And it is stronger together. And together, it means that even if you're reading alone, you want to be connected to the system. That also means together. Okay, let's read. Let's read a bit of the Zohar. Let's remember our intention while doing so. Let's think of the others. And let's read maybe a few quotes to help us align our intention. So we'll start off with Rabbi Moshe from the book Legel Machane Ephraim. He's a Kabbalist and he gives us a little bit about the Zohar. He says, the language of the Zohar remedies the soul, even when one does not understand what it says at all. It's similar to one who enters a perfumery. Even when he does not take a thing, he still absorbs fragrance. Okay, let's have a look at another one. Okay, let's read the second one. It's also nice. One who is not rewarded with understanding the Zohar should read nonetheless, for the words purify the soul and illuminate it with wondrous brightness. Nice. Okay, so let's start off reading the Zohar. Now, some of the excerpts, they talk about love, some talk about war, some talk about this world, seemingly, some talk about peace, some talk about things that we might think we can associate with things we know, like colors or things like that. Just a reminder, it speaks only of the spiritual reality and nothing else. So let's jump right into it. I will put some soft background music while I'm reading. Let me know if it's too loud. I'm not sure what the volume here is. So if it's too loud or too soft, let me know. We'll read some without just to experience both. The music is also Kabbalistic music, by the way, so it's also written by Kabbalists according to the same method for retaining their own musical notes. Okay, let's read the Zohar. Let's play. We play. Okay. Yes. Really, my headphones on. I can hear it. We should regard the words of the Torah. We should regard everything because there is nothing corrupt. There is nothing private on my holy name. And there is nothing corrupt that does not contain several secrets, reasons, groups, and matches. Anyone who wages war in the Torah is rewarded with much peace at the end of his words. there are a lot of things in the Bible that is clear by this area. Doesn't matter. What matters is only this us reading together, knowing that this book was written for maintaining this structure, the collective soul, the spiritual world, and while reading, wanting to fulfill this structure, wanting it to influence us includes the whole world. So he mentioned about the Torah, this and that. Sounds unclear. That maybe you can explain generally from all the wars are internal, the wars against the evil nation, that's the ego that is always one to become, take over. That's the war. The only war there is about war to battle our ego's nature, which prevents us from connecting to one another. That's the only war there is. Fighting, meaning that war is in order, determining the entire world. So let's look at it. To read it. Let's take a quick guidance from Rabbi Shane or something like that. He says, why would be should dedicate the majority of society to desire, even though they don't understand. The right to care, if he does not understand, if it is, still alive by the Roman expression. So look at that, that's actually quite careful reading. Disagrees with peace, disagrees with his holy name. Since his holy name is called peace. See, the world stands only on peace. The Creator created the world. It could not exist until he came and established peace on the Sabbath, which is the peace of after the law. Then the world exists. Hence, one disagrees with peace will be lost. 8. Those who love the law have great peace. The Torah law is peace, as is written, and all the ways are peace. Okay. Let's keep going. And let's try and connect even more specific. Everyone who's watching now could be this moment or any moment in time that you're watching this now, from wherever you are. Let's connect to each other to a single common desire, and let's pray. Let's pray to be as one. Let's pray to be connected to this powerful force that will just light up all of humanity. That's all that's required, to light up, to bring this light, this positive force in nature. You see that the negative forces overcome, and then they're expressed in these symptoms that we see. Like we had COVID with the symptoms, these wars happening in Ukraine, and right now in Israel, it's still happening. And all of these things are symptoms. So let's pray that we will. Let's pray that everyone will feel closer, will feel more connected. And Kabbalah is the saying that you don't want your enemies to die, you want them to repent. You want the whole world, all the reality to be connected in love. So let's make this so strong that it will wash over everything. This love will cover all crime, all transgressions. And it will lift us. So let's read the Zohar together. these, the whole world is mist. For all the souls of people come from them, because they are the meaning of three upper colors in Eden. The three lines of the river that stretches out of Eden, Seraphim, watered the garden of the book. It watered her by the order of these three upper lines. From the upper Eden, from there the colors spread: white, red, black. And when you look in the degrees, you will find how the colors spread on all those sides: right, left, and middle, until they enter below embodiment. And it's 27 channels, doors that cover the deep. Okay, let's keep reading. A little bit down. All those friends who do not love each other depart the world before their time. All the friends in Rashmi's time had love of soul and love of spirit money. This is what, in his generation, the secrets of Torah were revealed. Rabbi Shimon would say, all the friends who do not love each other cause themselves to stray from the right path. Moreover, they put a blemish in the Torah, since there is love, brotherhood, and truth in Torah. Abraham loved Isaac. Isaac loved Jacob. They were raised. They were both great. Jacob,
Hello, Moto.
brotherhood, and were giving their spirit to one another. Friends should be like them and not blemish them. For if love is lacking in them, they will blemish their value above. That is, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, which are.
Yeah.
Kitover.
Hey, what's up? How's it going?
Man, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good. What are you doing?
I love when people give me shit because you're my friend. I love it. I always tell him he's a hero. He's a public servant of the app.
It's interesting. People try to like insult you by claiming association with me as if, you know, like we have some great friendship or something. We're like clubhouse associates or something. It's like people are so petty and pathetic.
Yeah, I think you're hilarious, dude. And you know, Alan likes that you come to his room. He
Yeah.
likes it.
Yeah, he's, you know, I like everybody, but the thing is, it's like everybody should be given a chance to, you know, provide their opinion.
Absolutely. Yo, guess who I'm gonna hang out with today?
You're gonna hang out with Abby.
How did you know that?
Because I talked to her yesterday, and she was like, "Oh yeah, I've met Scott." She's like, "I'm gonna hang out." I'm like, "You know, he wants to bang you, right?" She's like, "Ooh." She's like, "Ooh."
No, you didn't say that.
Yeah, I said that.
And she said, ooh.
She said, "Ooh, I've already hung out with him."
Yeah, but that was before I lost 60 pounds. And she's like, I look amazing right now.
Damn, 60 pounds, holy shit.
Bro, I mean, I'm like in incredible shape right now. I'm floating around like 189, 190.
What was the psychological change, you think?
I just got back to working out. The thing is, I knew I could do it. After my divorce and just the COVID shit, I just was like, oh, thank you, man. Thank you very much for saying that. I appreciate that. Somebody told me I look good, but I just got back into it. I was like, I could do this. And I started working out, and I pushed through the awful first couple months. And it is hard. It's hard. And it's still coming. Beautiful. Good for you. Good for you, man. Yeah, so I had this friend of mine who's a fitness coach. She's really good. She helped me think through some stuff as far as I switched, I was doing a lot of HIIT stuff, and I switched from HIIT. First off, she had me doing HIIT with more weights, and then she moved me off of HIIT with weights into just heavier weight circuits, and that has been huge. The last 25 pounds I've put on muscle too, so it's been huge. So basically, I work out every day, and I do like today, I did like jump rope for like 10 minutes at home. Then I do like a 40-minute bis and tris workout. And then I went to the gym and did like 40 minutes of cardio and some yoga. So I'm getting a pretty athletic fit. So Andy, when you said I want to bang, she wasn't grossed out by it. She made a joke at her.
Aren't we talking about like a 70-year-old woman? Not right now.
Yeah, she's not 70. She's like 60.
Well, anyways, I'm just teasing. I mean, I don't even know if she heard me when I said that.
You can't write hopes up, buddy.
Well, you're the guy. I mean, you're the guy, who's meeting her, so it's up to you to determine.
But she did say that we're hanging out.
Wow.
She said that though?
Yeah, she said that.
And then you said you went to bang.
I think it said something along those lines.
And then she said, I gotta go, buddy. I'll call you back.
Okay.
Positively from our own freedom choice by waking each other, by waking ourselves, by spreading this, by making.
I got a good idea on what the angle is, and it's let's get the anti-vaxxers
So
to turn against
was
the Maha report that's speaking out against
we'll
vaccines.
continue the session. We'll do more of these.
Yes.
Next week.
Yes. So, first of all, Wall Street Journal
This is really
is a conservative piece that leans to all the conservative rhinos
Okay.
for clarification.
Yeah, that got it.
So they don't hold water for MAGA at all,
I clicked
let alone
the
Maha.
live button, so I should
So just so you know kind of where they stand.
confirm.
Agreed.
We have a few here, Devin's there.
And that's important to know. What she's going to do, like any good journalists, are going to try to find cracks in there. And just, Eagle, your answer is what the average people are going to say he's not doing enough. And he got the COVID vaccine off. That was priority one. Priority one. All right? Secondly,
Occultism channel.
he is taking on
every week. If you want to pass
the
this
most
knowledge on, leave a like and
incestuous
subscribe to the channel.
big pharma government collaboration that's ever been created, other than the military industrial complex. He's taken that on. There is a ton of backlash, a ton of fucking tiptoeing that he's got to do to get that in order to go after the rest of that schedule, that vaccine schedule. So he just can't, with a stroke of a pen, just say, hey, it's gone. The fallout would be absolutely insane. You don't even know what he's up against in threats. None of us do. So, but the fact that he got the COVID vaccine off as quick as he did and the other things that he's doing, I think he's definitely on the right track. And the fact that this is coming out before the school year tells me it's that important to him. If you brought it out in December, it would make it an annual, a new project starting in January, This is still urgent for him. That's just my opinion. So I just wanted to share that and clarify a few points.
Yeah, for sure. And we've got a bunch of hands raised. I just want to say thanks everybody for coming to the preservation of the human race. If you haven't already, please join the preservation of the human race community. We talk about everything from medical freedom and health advocacy and nutrition to we talk about politics and current events, as well as supernatural, UFOs, and paranormal types of conversations as well. So everything that's entertaining, everything that's informational, everything that's educational, we pretty much cover that. So please join the preservation of the human race. We're already almost at 1,000 members. So every single person that has joined already, you are amazing. Thank you so much for joining the community, and you have contributed to being one of the first 1,000 members on this platform. So we've got some hands raised. We've got some awesome people in the audience. Just want to shout out everybody in the audience that I see. I'm sending some invites up. And I just want to say a special thank you to the News Robert F. Kennedy Jr. parody account that came into the room to listen in. What a big supporter. He's got like 250,000 followers. And we'll go with Ed first. Ed, welcome to the stage. Try to keep it brief. We got to get through like 4 people.
Well, thanks, Augustus. Went through your draft that you posted down there, and people don't know I come from agriculture, especially regenerative agriculture and the food systems. And what I noticed from skimming through the draft was not one mention of regenerative agriculture and a mention of precision agriculture. That's at the very end of the page 18. And precision agriculture is the industrial system. So in other words, they promote all the pesticides, all the sides, all the synthetic fertilizers, all that sort of stuff. They try to do a little bit of more precision application, which doesn't solve much of the problems. Certainly doesn't solve nutrition problem, which is something that regenerative ag has done a lot of research on. We know that the nutritional density of what's grown on farms is down around the 10th to 20th percentile of what it could and should be. And that's our resilience. And I kind of expected this. In other words, they don't fix USDA, then people aren't getting nutrition and they're still getting all the chemicals. And so then farm has to kick in, and whether it be vaccines or drugs or treatments, still keeps that business thriving. Doesn't solve the problem. We learned that in regenerative agriculture. Plants, we realized, were so weak that they couldn't be resistant to anything, whether they were soil pathogens or insects or weed infiltration or anything like that. Once we brought the health of our plants up by learning how to do that, by getting the proper nutrition, the proper biome in the soil and the plant, all of a sudden our plants are incredibly resilient. We don't need the sides anymore. We don't need a lot of the synthetic nutrients anymore. So, I've never heard Brooke Rollins, which is our Secretary of Ag, use the word regenerative once. It's a huge movement. It's now over many, many millions of acres. Farmers are actually able to make a buck, clean their water, clean their air, produce good food. It is healthy. We've done the metabolomics on it. We know what the nutrient density problem is, except it's not addressing it at all in that draft. So, big red flag, but it's been expected, you know. If we don't solve the problem of USDA in our food, then farmer keeps thriving. And so people have less resilience all the time. And we cut vaccines, which really don't work. I mean, the concept is good, but it's probably not needed if we were healthy. But I'll end it there.
Okay, thanks for sharing. Mindy, Saskia, what's up?
Hi, how you doing? Remember, they're going to try to divide everybody. And one of the things for recovery in any vaccine injury is taking care of your gut biome, and your gut biome starts in the soil. So, we have to, help the Maha regenerative movement as much as we can. And remember, it's baby steps, one thing at a time. In terms of what they're doing all they can. We are up against Goliath, all right? These guys have more lobbyists than anybody else, and they have the money. But we have to create the political will that will allow this administration to do things. And that means contacting the senators, contacting these committees. Whenever there is a committee meeting, there is always an online portal where people can go and make comments. And whenever I look at that, the other side is, blasts them. And that's one thing they have that's really good is the mechanism to contact the representatives, the congressmen, the senators, the regenerative farming, the cutting back on the pesticides, because that is what kills our gut biome. And without a healthy gut biome, you are not going to heal, regardless. And if you have a messed up gut biome, that affects your mental health. You're more prone, and you will get depressed. You will have anxiety. And it's just so important. It's all connected. But the thing is to remain positive and support. Like, I believe that a lot of this nonsense comes from the Wicked Witch of the White House, that woman with the white hair. I don't even like to say her name. She's the best at what she does, and she is a complete pharma and pesticide. Like, they're all the same companies. She's a pharma whore, all right? And a pharma whore will do anything for money. Anything. They have sold their soul for money by, killing Americans, by poisoning Americans, and they continue to do that. But the thing is to remain resilient and, give support to these people who are working their asses off trying to do things. Can you imagine how many death threats they get daily from these nonsense people? And they're starting to call people like, we're in a cult. And I just look at that and I go, they're going to throw the mud. Please review the propaganda techniques. And once you learn to see them, once you see it, you can't unsee it. But the strength is the strength in the numbers from people who support, cleaning up not only the vaccine schedules, but also the toxic pharmaceuticals like Ozempic that are out there and, damaging people and killing people. But also back to our soils and back to our food supply. Control the food, you control the people. And these people have the means to go after everything, but we have to remain united and support each other. And that's like the gut biome starts in the dirt. If you want a healthy gut biome in a healthy population, you need healthy dirt. It's that simple. But thank you for all the work you're doing, Augustus. And while it seems like, like we've been at this for 5 years, there are people who've been at this for 30 years. This goes back a long way. And there are many people who've broken the trail for us. And it's going to take people like you who are focused on keeping moving it forward, because you're fresh blood to this movement. Can you imagine people who've been at this for 30 years, and the same issues? And it's going to take that kind of determination to make the positive changes that will result in, better pharmaceuticals, that will result in clean dirt, in a better food supply that's no longer poisoned. But thanks for the space, and thanks for all the work you do, Augustus.
Wow, thanks so much for the kind words. I really appreciate that. And honestly, to be real with everybody, I feel like as if we've been focusing on the food, we've been focusing on the agriculture, on regenerative farming for this whole administration so far, for the past 6 months, for the past 185 days, or 95 days, however many it's been. And we haven't really been giving the vaccine and big pharma the right attention. And I think it's because they've been basically behind the scenes, combing everything with a fine-tooth comb and doing their own studies and basically compiling evidence in order to stop the shots. And this leaked report is the beginning of the end of the big pharma cabal, the big pharma agenda to basically inoculate and vaccinate.
You could have created a John Kitover account? Cool.
So, with that being said, we do
I need to clone myself. Thank you for being the first replicant voluntarily. Thank you, replicant.
Give them guys a follow. They're great guys. I've known them both for around 5 or 6 years. Both of them have created huge platforms, so definitely give them a follow on X and help them create a big platform here on X. So, with that being said, Ben Glover, you're up, brother.
It's always good to hear your voice. Hello, everybody listening. Yeah, we've come a long way since the Clubhouse days, my brother. I got thrown off that app for having these very types of discussions. Literally for just having discussions, open debate, open discourse, which is what our Constitution is supposed to be built upon. But I kind of wanted to bring up two things, Augustus. Since you're in DC now, brother, I just want to remind you one thing that is just driving me mad, brother. And if you can get into the right ears, I'm tired, Augustus, of looking up at a beautiful, clear, sunny day. And every day I sit there and I watch the planes go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, line after line after line, and then I see it aerosol over our skies. It is undeniable. So since we're on the subject of health, we need to know, what are they spraying in our atmosphere? What is in these planes? This is not a conspiracy anymore. What are these particles? What type of impact does it have on human?
No, don't bring up the chemtrails. Not till later.
Please, Augustus, I know you're down there. Please make as much noise about chemtrails as you can, brother, because it's honestly, at this point, it's undeniable. I mean, literally,
They deleted 4 of my Clubhouse accounts.
People, I can understand how people
Can you believe that? They like specifically targeted John Kitover.
Everyone, wherever you are, whatever city you're
It's like
in.
without, I mean, I contribute to the activity on the app. It's
Pay
just
attention
stupid.
to the sky. Spend a couple
I
days.
mean, it's like if they're gonna delete my accounts to like improve behavior or something, it's not me. It's gotta be just because I record and people complain like,
I'm not as big on X. I don't know what it is. I have literally hundreds of billions of views everywhere else. Please pay attention to the skies.
I think I hear somebody hitting a vape as they're talking about how to make more reality again.
Going on above our
I'm
skies.
sure I heard somebody
We
hit a
need to
vape
know
pen.
what it is. It's been too long. That's number one. So Augustus, please talk to whoever you gotta talk to. Talk to, Mr. Kennedy. We need
I
answers,
agree.
bro.
Just keep moving
Please.
forward.
Thank you. That's number one.
Let it go.
Yeah,
It's the fastest way to resolve.
check your DMs. I just sent you a fantastic article written by Nicole Shanahan, who is the running mate of RFK Jr. for his presidential campaign. So she wrote this thing called the Dark Maha Report. Oh shit! Oh shit!
Was that too much?
I just want to let people know you can actually set your clock to it. Just look on the way to work.
Maga.
On the way to work every
Oh
single
man,
day.
I
you
cannot
see
believe you've
it starts
cloned
off,
me.
and then
You're my first replicant. Thank you, John.
it starts to clear a little bit, and then
You are essentially voluntarily, without me even asking you, to basically clone me. I thank you, John. I feel like I will live forever now as a unofficial lieutenant in the United States Army. Congratulations, John. You are now an officer in the U.S. military. You've done it, John. Go forth and bring your people justice.
And I'm in New York. I see it every day. I've seen it in LA. I've seen it in Las Vegas. Every major city. I don't see it as much in the rural areas, but it still happens.
Let me play you a little clip, John.
This is not a conspiracy.
This is from King Arthur.
6 months ago, exactly what you showed.
Yeah, you sent it to me. You sent it to me and I shared it, and that's exactly what that is. And
Four planes and one plane off. One plane just didn't have it. It was either out or it forgot to pull the handle to let the shit out. It's so obvious.
And tell your friends and family, say, listen, don't believe me. I understand it sounds crazy.
Okay, this is for you, John. This is your knighting ceremony. Oh, I don't know how to. Oh, it's not working. All right, this has been the campaign to elect John Kitover, meditation per victory. I'm going to end this so I can knight my friend John here. In case I go down, John, continue the fight. What the fuck?
Swear of faith to me. Hail to have mercy. I need battle lords such as you. I never not. Swear of faith to You're right. I'm not yet a knight. You, Syrians, unlike me,
Simon. Be still. That's it. And look upon this moment. Savor him. Rejoice with great gladness. Great gladness. Remember it always. For you are joined by it. You are one under the stars. Remember it well then. This night. This great victory. So that in the years ahead, you can say, I was there that night with Arthur, the king. For it is the doom of men that they forget. So that we remember our bonds, we shall always come together in a circle to hear and tell of deeds good and brave. I will build a round table where this fellowship shall meet, and a hole about the table, and a castle about the hole, and I will marry you. And the land will have an heir to wield Excalibur. Knights of the Round Table.
Okay, you're almost done with your training. Next, we're gonna do Merlin quotes from Excalibur, then that'll be it. And then you'll fully become John Kitover John. I salute you. I hope you like his Merlin.
The Matrix is a system, Theo. That system is our enemy. But when you're inside, you look around, what do you see? Businessmen, teachers, lawyers.
Augustus is making a speech over there.
The very mind of the people we are trying to save. And most men are looking at the world through an ass. But don't be do. These people are still a part of that system. And that makes them our enemy. You have to understand. Most of these people.
But first, the message from Walmart, where you can find shopping and savings.
Wow, I'm super excited to join the Whatnot family. Whatnot is a live streaming platform where you guys can buy, sell, auction. Buy.
That's right. So, well, everything out there, you're in the it was almost tomorrow. Start fucking capturing on social media. They were doing that.
Your lust will hold you up. You will float on the dragon's breath. Ride!
Take off the aftershave of the Duke.
Change! Transform! Now! That's it!
That's it.
Right up before sunrise.
John, I hope this programming is
The art
beneficial
of
for
play, free and easy wandering. Teachings from the Jauzi. The inner.
What's up, board? Oh man, dinner.
you. The first man, my hamburger helper.
Look, I love.
Yes, madam, that's acceptable to us. Call the dragon. Mend the soul. Speak the charm of making.
Hey, can you hear me? Hey, everybody, this is John Kitover. I recognize former speaker's voice. Anyways, I just wanted to read some parts from this Make Our Children Healthy Again strategy PDF, because I know a lot of people probably can't read it, won't read it, don't have the time, but, you know, I'll just read like 3 bullet points if that's okay with all the other speakers.
Yeah, go for it.
So this came out on February 13th, 2025. These are some of the bullet points that I thought were interesting. Legalization. There's a concerning trend of overprescribing medications to children, often driven by conflicts of interest in medical research, regulation, and practice, aka big business. This has led to unnecessary treatments and long-term health risks. This is the next bullet point is vaccine injury. HHS, in collaboration with NIAID, will investigate vaccine injuries with improved data collection and analysis, including through a new vaccine injury research program at the NIH Clinical Center that may expand to centers around the country. Autism. HHS through NIH in collaboration with CMS will study the root causes of autism, including through the Real World Data RWD platform and related initiatives. There's water quality, air quality, AI. NIH and OSTP will develop an evidence-based and AI-driven approach to harnessing the data and technology available to transform research in clinical trials on pediatric cancer. This can be a model for future research in other critical areas. Next is precision technology, oral health and systemic disease connection, longitudinal pediatric health insights. VA, that's the Veteran Affairs, will provide the NIH critical data and metrics on ADHD, diabetes, and pharmaceutical usage among CHAMP VA beneficiaries under 18 to address longstanding gaps in pediatric research, particularly longitudinal analyses. With over 200,000 CHAMP VA beneficiaries in this age group, VA is uniquely positioned to track children's health journeys across the U.S. and will enter into a data sharing agreement with NIH, excluding personally identifiable information to inform national strategies, early intervention, appropriate care utilization, and mental health policy. So the government's going to use the VA and 200,000 children to do experimentation, apparently, or testing. Next is Clinical Trial Network, electromagnetic radiation, mental health addiction research, rural tribal health, artificial intelligence. Big emphasis on AI. So that's only page 6, up to 6 of 18 pages. There were some specific things I wanted to call out, but if people have a chance to look at this, so this is the vaccine framework. DPC and HHS will develop a framework focused on ensuring America has the best childhood vaccine schedule, addressing vaccine injuries, modernizing American vaccines with transparent gold standard science, correcting conflicts of interest and misaligned incentives, ensuring scientific and medical freedom. Early childhood physical activity. There's so much in here. So this is agricultural deregulation. Streamline organic certification processes, reduce costs for small farms transitioning to organic practices. Eliminate unnecessary bureaucratic barriers for community-supported agriculture programs. Reduce regulatory compliance burdens for small farms. Streamline, digitize USDA application processes. Generate reliable access to credit. Improve land acquisition permitting process. So it's, unfortunately, as someone who has had many accounts deleted for speaking out against the COVID-19 vaccines, I don't get the feeling that this is like any kind of prohibition or regulation on mRNA manufacturing, distribution, marketing. I don't know if people saw yesterday, but the Pediatrics Association group with 30,000 members came out and said that they are not going to comply with Secretary Kennedy's updated policy on juvenile or pediatric COVID-19 vaccination, and they said they recommending parents vaccinate their children with COVID-19 vaccines. So the mainstream media, through Sinclair Broadcasting or Time Warner and CNN, is still putting out mass messaging to the American population to vaccinate your juvenile children or anybody with COVID-19 vaccines. So we are still living in a medical, tyrannical industrial complex with a monopoly on the media that is still encouraging all Americans to get the COVID-19 vaccine. And unfortunately, that is not in alignment with the new government and Secretary Kennedy. So also, I don't know if you saw, but Jenny McCarthy also came out and said that she was targeted and attacked by Big Pharma for speaking out against the child COVID-19 or the child vaccination schedule, which is, I think it's 79 injections or 59 injections. So we're living in 72. So we're living in medical tyranny, and Augustus is doing a great job organizing, helping people spread messaging and fight back. But it is a small group. Share the room, add everybody as a friend. The network grows stronger the more connected we become. So thanks for letting me read all that, and I hope everybody has a great day.
No, that was a really great read and great take. Jenny McCarthy, she actually has been commenting on my Instagram channel, supporting the work that I'm doing on that platform. Jenny McCarthy, great person. Shout her out. So, with that being said, let's go to Prashant.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Or good afternoon, wherever you're at. It's morning for me here in Hawaii. But, for the first time, I think maybe some real change is happening. Reports are easy. Words are easy. I'll believe it more when we start seeing the real change in effect. One of the reasons I have hope, please let me finish before anybody jumps in by getting set off, because I'm not trying to set anybody off. But this is one of the reasons I have hope. I just found an article this morning. It says Trump's afterlife fear sparks fresh health concerns as president admits, I'm not doing well. Well, I've said it a number of times in the past months that Trump looks really, really sicker than he's ever been in all the 12 years we've had him in the public sphere.
he looks really bad. And I've studied the science of the mind and through change is fear. And one of the worst fears that humans have is fear of death. So why am I saying this? Because I think Donald Trump right now is facing fear of death. That's what that article says that I just pointed out to you. I can share it if anybody wants to see it. But that's why I have that hope. Because personally, I think this is one of the most dark men that's ever been in our White House. But when you face fear of death, it can be, it's not always, but it can be a catalyst for real change. And that's why I think there is a possibility that this man may really change because he's got fear of his death right now. I could share a lot more, but I'll stop for now. Thank you.
So I just went around and clicked everybody's profile and added everybody. If everybody else could do the same, because again, this communication, this room, this organizing effort, the more connected we are, the stronger, the messaging and the distribution will be, and the stronger we will all be as a group.
You follow, bro. Gotcha.
Let's go to John.
Hey everybody, what's going on? Yeah, I guess my hope for this whole pesticide thing is, this is a draft, and the pesticide part, maybe they're working on it, and they're like, just want a clean draft, and this is the part that they're kind of still working out. Secondly, Kennedy's all about the gold standard science coming to what's causing all these chronic disease, and I believe that main culprit after the mRNA tech is glyphosate. I think these studies are going to show that. And if those studies aren't done yet, maybe it's a strategic decision to focus on the other things now. And then when those studies start coming, we can focus on the pesticides a little more. So that's my hope I got there. I put up in the top nest. We got a big account. We got what's his name?
Oh, you're on Clubhouse. Well, this is on X, by the way.
The Vigilant Fox is posting about these liability shields.
Go to X and look up USA_justice.
Help get the word out about that. He just posted that an hour ago, so we can help him get the word out there.
This is X profile.
Yeah,
It's in the chat.
Why they went after a liability shield for the child.
Join the room on there. You can jump out of this Clubhouse room if you want to join the X space. Or if you want, if you got another burner, just live stream this X space into Clubhouse. Create a room called
jury trials.
Secretary Kennedy Vaccine Regulation or something like that.
They went, 5-6 steps with the vaccine schedule.
Actually, John, I'm going to recreate this room.
And
change this.
Yeah, we can't trust serial criminals to do the right thing. Back to that, but this mRNA tech, it's just turning us into guinea pigs, right? It's completely against nature, whether you believe in a creator or just, even evolution. So, and it's the same thing with GMOs. Experimenting with our plants, with the microbes, with the soil, this stuff's dangerous. They can be creating all sorts of plagues and famines, and that's in the financial interest, right? So is it on purpose when they collapse our food supply and make all the more money? We saw they made so much money from COVID. So yeah, this stuff's really no good. I like what our friend Nuni was saying earlier. Yeah, we're all on the same side. They are masters of the arts of dividing movements like ours. We're all on the same side. We got to make our food meds safe again. These are the two main culprits. I'm right there with everybody yelling about mRNA attack. This is more urgent. But we got to keep pounding the table about both these issues. It's unacceptable. It's a fertility crisis that we're in, guys. We're the sickest country on the planet. We got to do something about that. Our kids are being gaslit. Their hormones aren't firing correctly because we're drowning in toxins. We're drowning in endocrine disruptors. And our kids are getting gaslit like you can choose your gender. I mean, something that is so preposterous, so ridiculous, is child abuse. And they normalize it. And that's the power of the media we're up against. So guys, don't
neglect. I think they really profit from this phenomenon of learned helplessness. They want us to try to give up and throw in the towel. And I get this attitude from way too many people. And I'm glad it's your generation has to deal with this. It's like, dude, my generation is impoverished. We're spending 2 to 3 times on our health care. Prices are outrageous. It's all hands on deck. If you're retired, if whatever stage of life is, if you got a little extra time, when we call a congressman, that balances out the lobbying efforts of these tyrants, right? Let our public servants know what the real issue is. They're liars on the other side, okay? And they sound convincing. So they're in our representatives here with all this nonsense. One of the narratives of Big Ag right now is that they're not going after a liability shield, which is just bizarre that anybody could even believe that, because they're using the same defense right now in the Supreme Court to try to get 67,000 cases of American families with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma with cancer who have gotten that from Monsanto's Roundup. They're trying to get that thrown out of court using the same legal technicality that they're pushing for in this legislation. So yeah, we got to revoke all these liability shields. Thomas Massey's brought forth a great bill about pulling back the PrEP Act. Representative Gosar has a bill in the House right now about restoring accountability for the childhood immunization schedule. And of course, we got to say no to this new Section 453 that's about the Big Ag. So, yeah, great time to call a congressman and tell him, listen, our constitutional rights are non-negotiable, and they need to stand for us. So, yeah, thanks for hosting. I guess this repost that link. Is all the way to the left at the top of the nest if you like. There's on Fox. Did a great write-up on it. So.
Good. Thanks for sharing, Johnny. Go ahead, Hope.
Thank you. So, I listen. I'm a space opera. I listen to a lot of people, and a lot of the time I really retain it. So when Augustus said that there would probably be something coming out around August or September, I've just been holding off, expecting that RFK Jr. is going to be doing something about the vaccinations. I have faith. When it comes to the media, they're propagandists. They're never going to tell you anything positive. Why? Because fear sells. And I can tell you that I have been falsely imprisoned. I have been tortured. I'm still dealing with the law there 6 years later. I have lived in fear for so long. And I woke up this morning and I said, you know what? He's given me the power, the love, and sound mind. He has not given me a spirit of fear. So I will not be reading the New York Times. I will not be reading any of those things that are going to try to put fear into my heart, because I believe in God and I believe that there is a plan here. And if you don't think that this is not a war of good and evil, I can tell you that in 2022, when I lived in Texas, the guy that I was dating, his grandmother came to visit for Mother's Day. She's bilingual, and when she came, she said that she was on a bus that was filled with middle males that were coughing and not covering their mouths. After she went back, she went to the hospital and was admitted for the pneumonia. They released her. 2 days later, she went back and she passed away. So while these people were telling us that we were going to kill everyone if we didn't get the jab, we're gonna be, demonized for not wearing paper diapers on our faces. These people were doing this to us while they were importing illegals on buses that we know nothing about. We don't know kind of criminal history they have. We don't know their vaccine history. And then they put them in our children's schools. So don't think for a second that this is not a battle of good and evil, because it definitely is. But I believe that God is going to win. And the last thing that I want to say is that, even though there has been maybe a little more of a delay than we expected or hoped for with the vaccines, RFK did step up to something very important, and that is kratom. This feel free is being sold at gas stations, and it is being marketed as something that is completely healthy and natural, when in reality, it is more addictive than opiates, and it is deadly. Actually, my friend, who is 41, he was 41 years old, and he took kratom because he had broken his collarbone. And when the surgeon tried to reattach it, he did not do a good job on the surgery. So my friend was taking the kratom, and I was like, man, that stuff's so bad for you, And he said that he hadn't taken it for a few days, and then I didn't hear from him for 2 or 3 days, and I got the call. He had a seizure. My friend was 41 years old, and kratom took his life last year. So
I've been using kratom for the last 10 years. I do understand what you're saying, and especially the ones at the gas stations, but it's not as black and white as you think. I'm going to let you finish. But I've been drinking kratom tea for over a decade. That's when I have my thoughts of that. But I agree with you. All this stuff in the gas stations, nobody knows what's in them. So it's not just the kratom itself. But
yeah, I mean, it's just like anything that needs to be regulated, or, there needs to be more studies into it. There may be people that know how to take it correctly, but I don't think that it needs to be out there at a gas station for anyone who's 18 and above to be buying.
I agree with that. It shouldn't be gas stations at all. There shouldn't be a synthetic version of it. And from what I'm hearing in the back channels, they're actually getting ready to approve a version of it that's going to be more addictive than heroin. So it is something that should be regulated because it's operating under the black market, meaning for the longest, this kratom is, if I'm not mistaken, it's a part of the pepper family. If I'm not mistaken, it's part of the pepper family. If you take the leaves and you make like an organic tea with it, it's great. But what they're doing is they're turning it into a powder, which is like making it much, much stronger. Okay? Like it's being abused. And what's happening is a lot of former drug addicts are using it, and it's actually been beneficial to them. So they use it as a crutch to get off of heroin and other drugs, and also to not go on painkillers, because it does have like a painkilling type effect. It numbs the body. It can be addictive, especially for people that were addicts, but especially the things that they're selling in these stores. If you abuse kratom, it does have an addictive trait to it, and the withdrawal symptoms can mimic not as bad as coming off heroin, but pretty bad. So there are people that definitely abuse it. The products that are sold in gas stations, stores, and all over are very dangerous. I do not recommend them. If you ever want to try kratom, it's something you should be doing at like a kava bar. The organic version of it, not the synthetic version, because a lot of people are dying from it. And it does need to be regulated, and I'm sorry to hear about your friend. So I agree with you on that aspect, but it's not in black and white, and it would hurt a lot of people if it was made illegal, because it has saved a lot of lives also. That's the other side of the argument.
Yeah, well, I just think that people need to be a lot more careful. I don't think that the public is informed enough about this stuff. The feel free and the way that it's marketed and the way that it's just sold at gas stations, it just infuriated me so bad. But I'm glad that he said something about it, and I hope that we do see that come off of gas station shelves. That should not be allowed. But yes, as far as like the vaccines and stuff, like people are definitely still pissed. And just because like we haven't been screaming about it lately, I think that we're waiting on RFK to do something, and we're looking forward to hearing like that they need to be completely stopped, because after my mom's first booster, she she had to go on life support. And I had to go in there and make sure that she was asleep so that I could even sit here and talk about it. Because every time she hears anything about it, she gets furious. And my mother is the most loving and sweet woman in the world. She doesn't get mad
Except about this.
She hears anything about the COVID shots. When she found out that they were still giving the shots, she got really pissed off. So, yeah, like, I have to wait until she's asleep to even be able to talk about it. But, yeah, we're still mad.
Okay, guys, so I have an article. I also want to welcome Salu to the stage. Welcome, brother. How you doing tonight?
Great, thank you. And you know what? One thing that Hope said, all the places they were putting people, like, don't forget how the old folks home, you know, not just schools and the buses, they were putting them everywhere. And also, I was in Michigan, so when that one kid beat up the elderly people at the old folks home and get everybody sick with COVID at the old folks home, that was another one. I mean, very strategic, everything that happened.
100%. 100%. Unfortunately, I think everybody here, you know, can identify with that story. So that's the sad part, but it's true.
Hey, this is John. Can I just say that, you know, getting angry to the environment is going to happen. But it's apps like this where we're actually not being censored, because when they rolled out the vaccine in 2021, 2020, literally former CIA, FBI employees were working at Twitter and literally running back messaging to the White House and deleting and censoring and controlling the narrative. That type of manipulation is extremely dangerous. And this is still the only app where you can still speak out against the COVID-19 vaccines. On Facebook, at Google, you will be labeled a medical misinformationist. And they are using the World Health Organization now has been organizing rooms to fight back against big pharma and big health insurance, which all relies on Medicare, Medicaid, which is $4 trillion a year that we taxpayers are literally funding our own death and demise through groupthink and stupidity. So I say everyone here, you know, add each other and form our little parallel society so we can fight back against the fraud, waste, abuse, and scam that Medicare, Medicaid perpetuates on us by giving it to big pharma and big health insurance providers. Our money, our dollars, our substance, all borrowed and spent from the Federal Reserve.
100%. So I just want to get into this article, guys. It's only like a couple-minute read, but basically it breaks down the leaked MAHA report going hard on vaccines. I'm really excited about it. I hope you are too. Please repost the space and let's get this to a wider audience. A leaked draft of the long-awaited report detailing the Make America Healthy Again Commission strategy for tackling childhood chronic disease has so far drawn mixed reactions from health advocates. The document addresses vaccine safety, medical freedom, and possible health risks linked to wireless radiation, but fails to mention pesticide bans. Although this is a draft document, we are very encouraged by the MAHA Commission's recommendations to President Trump, says Mary Holland, the CEO of Children's Health Defense. She added, and I quote, "The strategies in the draft report show a clear shift in government focus toward protecting public health and preventing childhood chronic diseases instead of relying on the same failed approaches that have only made our children sicker," end quote. Still, she said that the draft left room for improvement, especially when it comes to eliminating pesticides. Every category of pesticide has been linked to neurological disorders in humans, posing severe health risks, she said. On Monday, Politico leaked the draft, which, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, you could get the 18-page draft at the top of the space. It's just one over at the top of the space. It says draft of MAHA report. it was leaked on Monday, calling the document quite industry friendly. The draft is being circulated among the White House officials and has yet to be finalized. Last week, the New York Times reported it had obtained an earlier draft that suggested good news for the food and agricultural industries. However, at the time, White House spokesman told CNN, any documents purporting to be the second Maha report should be disregarded as speculative literature. The document was leaked close to 100 days after the Maha Commission, led by U.S. Health Secretary RFK Jr., issued its initial report on May 22nd. The earlier report focused on identifying key drivers of the childhood chronic disease epidemic. This month's report contains recommendations for steps the federal government can take to address the epidemic. As the press time today, the final report had yet to be published. Here are a few highlights from the draft: vaccine injuries, medical freedom, and conflicts of interest. The draft spelled out a vaccine framework to guide the government's approach to vaccines that ensures the U.S. has the best childhood vaccine schedule and addresses vaccine injuries. The framework also focuses on correcting conflicts of interest and misaligned incentives and ensuring scientific and medical freedom. The Commission charged the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the federal government's Domestic Policy Council to develop the framework. HHS has been taking actions this year in support of the new framework. In March, RFK Jr. announced a plan to create an agency within the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, aka we all know them as the CDC, focused on vaccine injuries as well as COVID and Lyme disease. In June, the CDC's new group of vaccine advisors committed to studying the cumulative effect of the U.S. childhood vaccine schedule. Excuse me. I don't know. I had like a burp, but it wasn't a burp. I don't know what that was.
That felt painful, dude.
Sorry about that, guys. The CDC currently recommends at least 70 doses of 15 different vaccines for children and adolescents up to the age of 18. These recent actions stand in stark contrast to past federal regimes. Holland, remember, is the CEO of the Children's Health Defense. She says, creating a new vaccine framework is long overdue. Correcting conflicts of interest, improving transparency, and removing initiatives are all welcome changes. The draft also stated that the HHS would launch a vaccine injury research program at the National Institute of Health Clinical Center to improve vaccine injury data collection and analysis. The program may expand to centers across the United States. Holland said she was most encouraged by this addition. The Children's Health Defense Chief Scientist Officer Brian Hooker agreed, and he says, the study of the long-term safety and efficiency of vaccines, vaccine components, and cumulative vaccine schedule has never been done with any type of scientific rigor or veracity. My hope is that HHS will capitalize on this opportunity to prevent vaccine adverse events and acknowledge that the very high prevalence of vaccine injury due to the past fox guarding the hen house via pharma capture of HHS agencies. End quote. Which, by the way, I met him. I met Brian Hooker, the Chief Scientist Officer at CHD. What a great guy. A lawsuit filed last week against the CDC alleges the agency violated federal law by failing to study the cumulative impact of childhood vaccine schedule on children's health. Wireless radiation and health risks. According to the draft report, HHS will partner with other federal agencies and departments to study the effects of electromagnetic radiation on health and highlight areas that need more attention, including new technologies to ensure safety and efficiency. Miriam Eckensfels, I don't know, that's a weird last name. Miriam, director of CHD's electromagnetic radiation and wireless program, pointed to a 2008 report by the National Research Council that called for research on the impact of wireless devices and cell towers on kids, fetuses, and pregnant women.
Damn, the space got boomed. Amazing, isn't it? All right, this has been COVID-19 vaccines, Big Pharma, Medicare, Medicaid, debt fraud with candidate Congressman John Kitover. Go to johnforcongress.com. Thanks for tuning in. Let's see what else is on X Spaces at the moment. This is called Trolls, Traitors, and Transparency, the War for the UAP Narrative.
The nature of bodies and pilots in these holy vessels that seem to transfigure according to all these myriad conditions that can be either intentionally or unintentionally tweaked.
Well, not only transfigure, but they actually adapt and create according to local properties of physics.
100%.
Well, that to me suggests intelligent design of intent. You're coming up environment, and you actually have to change yourself to some degree so that you can interact with that environment.
But some of it is not. There are degrees of it. Some souls who traverse the bardo, the liminal spaces between existence and reality, they accidentally end up places, or they are just caught on the wind. And so a lot of that is the case, like the wild huckleberry, right?
But either they possess or they go back through the process and emerge once again as the intent fractal, which I've called meme law, because it's like, well, if that's the smallest aspect of intention, it seems mimetic to me. So I call it meme law.
In a matter of observation and prosperity of intelligence that's merging and moving through the cosmos, if you by happen chance come across an environment that is profitable and possible for your intelligence to continue to experience within that environment, as soon as you come across it, you're going to report back to whatever source intelligence that there is that this is a highly profitable, highly possible environment for experience. So
yes, dude. Okay, so in the Buddhist pantheon, in the wheel of life, the human incarnation, we said earlier, these behaviors that we wanted to get this human vessel. This is the most. This place is poised. This particular incarnation is poised for.
No, I'm saying for anybody who wants
it is preferred. It is the preferred premium incarnation. And that's what.
Yeah, exactly. It's right for it. Exactly. It's right for it. And whether or not that is a homeopathic clone or understanding an explanation of civilization versus a cosmic or universal appreciation.
Yeah, and in essence, what he said, obviously. So they believe, the Roman Catholics state that they believe that there's a seen and unseen baptism or a seen and unseen salvation. So they believe that they are saved 100% definitively, and that the Protestants may or may not be saved.
Yeah, that's our plan. It's kind of like when you get into like the URJ and shit like that. Like Orthodox Jews are gonna be like, oh, the URJ, they're a little fucking weird shit, but they're still Jews.
I think
It's the same kind of shit. The Catholics and the Catholics and Orthodox Church are just Orthodox. Protestants, I mean, nice people, but they are.
Which is that there's really not much mention of banning pesticides and stuff like that because of things with the EPA and USDA.
He's got to control, he has to take control first. He can't start stepping on their toes when his house is not in order. So, HHS has the ability to, which they do, change the vaccine schedule, so forth. That's what we need to do first.
I agree. I think a lot of people in the space actually agree with you too, Malcolm, because we got a lot of anti-vaxxers up here on stage, and the title of the space is, it goes hard on vaccines, which I think is good because I feel like they've been underrepresented and they feel like as if they haven't been heard and they haven't, they've been kind of like ostracized from the Maha community. And I've been telling them, just be patient. Come August, come September, there's going to be some major changes, and this is just the beginning of the end for them. And it's funny, one of the listeners, this lady Hope, here actually remembered my predictions, and she was like, dude, I've been holding out until it's time, and now what you said has come true. So
I'm just not sure why this headline is being posed as, it's hard on vaccines but soft on pesticides. Just a few weeks ago, everyone was saying, he's going hard against big food and not against the vaccines. I mean, can anyone ever acknowledge that this is decades and decades worth of corruption, legislation, and foundation that he has to undo? I mean,
the thing is that it's part of a strategy implemented by big pharma, by big food, by big media, in order to dismantle the momentum of this movement.
I want people to realize that. First off, just realize that perfection is the enemy. Number one. Number two, there is nobody working harder in Trump's cabinet than Robert F. Kennedy Jr. And number three, we have to support. We have to support from the grassroots. We cannot be attacking our guy in there. So, I just want everybody to keep fighting.
When I look like a professional doctor,
I've been telling them that for a while now. Not everybody wants to listen though. Everybody wants to be a critic. What's that phrase though? The man in the arena.
So good.
what I manipulate, I always take photos with you to lie to everyone.
So it is not the critic who
You see, I
counts.
have billions
Not
and
the man
billions
who
when
points
I look
out
like a professional
how
doctor.
the strong man stumbles,
photos to propaganda
where
for them.
the doer of
I
deeds
always
could
take
have
photos
been,
with you to lie
could have
to
done
everyone.
better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust, and blood and sweat, who strives
valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasm, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory or defeat. Teddy Roosevelt.
That was beautiful.
And But it's cool. You know, it's so weird. Like the other day, we went to go get ice cream, and guess who? Well, like we walk up to the ice cream shop, and there's like all of these like bodyguards surrounding the shop. So I'm like, oh, it's probably closed. Or my wife says, oh, it's probably closed. And I'm like, well, let me ask. So I asked the bodyguard, like, hey, can we go in there? Are you guys closed? And he's like, oh, yeah, no, you guys can go in there. Come on in. And he opens the door for us. We walk into the ice cream shop.
What race
We
is
see like 100 little
that?
kids running around in there. We turn the corner, and guess who it is? Pete Hegseth with his like 10 kids. How funny is that? And they were with Secret Service. That's who the bodyguards were with Secret Service. So
Yeah, I saw that somebody is in trouble for doxing them or something.
oh, they should get in trouble for doxing them. They're a great family.
Who's gonna show up and go fight? State security, social service.
Secret Service.
Yeah, whatever. Doxing. It's like, here's his address. Go get killed.
Yeah, but that's like kind of what's like being in DC is like you just randomly run into Pete Hegseth. Go ahead, Prashant, and then we'll go to Carol.
Yeah, thanks, Augustus. Yeah, I wish I could run into Pete Hegseth because I'd have a talk with the man because I think Pete Hegseth is a victim of the lies that have perpetuated the darkness in our country for many years. But I won't go further into detail on that right now because this is not the time. But I certainly wish I could have a man-to-man conversation with this gentleman. I'm 75 years old, so I've been around the block a few more years than he has, and I've seen the lies about our foreign policy. You know, we have a really good conversation here today, and we have somebody in the audience who I'd really like to hear from, and somebody who I think, if Trump really wants to change, should appoint as the head of the USDA, and that's Ed Bourgeois. If Trump's listening or anybody else is listening down below that can get the word to Trump, this is the man that we need to head the USDA. He may not want it, but at least he should be a top advisor because the man knows about healthy food and agriculture. And the last thing I'll say this time is because I don't want to go along too long, and we don't have to get into a fight about what I'm going to say, but we should completely
That was his
eliminate
last sig.
any vaccine requirement for any child in this country because there is no vaccine that doesn't do harm. Not one. The World Health Organization had a meeting a couple of years ago on vaccine hesitancy. And one of the main speakers, one of the head of that meeting, you know what she said? You can hear her say it. She said to the whole group from all over the world, she said, we are in a very dangerous position. We've put ourselves in a very dangerous position because you know what we've done? We have substituted vaccine immunity for natural immunity. And that's a very dangerous position we've put ourselves in. This is one of the top people in the World Health Organization admitting, and listen to her say it, she's admitting that vaccines aren't the best way to go. Because the best way to go is learn about your immune system and make it strong and stop doing things that weaken it. I'm the living proof of it. I am 75 years old. I haven't been to a doctor in 55 years.
This guy's been to a doctor in 55 years.
Scared for his life now and trying to rely on doctors who don't know anything about real health, the vast majority of them. If Trump or his advisors are listening, if Trump wants to get healthy, bring me to the White House. If he does what I said, I'll guarantee Trump can get much healthier than he is. And I'll stop for now, and I apologize for my anger. But my anger is about the children. We're ruining their lives. We're ruining their future. We gotta stop it. Thank you.
Beautiful, man. I believe we feel the same way. You know, we're tired of being taken advantage of and lied to over and over again, having not enough information to
decisions. It's disgusting.
I agree with you.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. Go ahead, Carol.
Hey, thanks, Augustus. So most people just call me Apothecary Carol, but listening in, one of the things that has come up, and this happened as soon as RFK Jr. and Donald Trump kind of, came up with the term MAHA, is there was a division among those of us that are very concerned about the health status of our country and the things that are creating all of these chronic diseases and putting ourselves and our families at risk. And that is the division between what is more important. And this came to really to the forefront when Casey and Callie Means came on the scene in their book and talking about the toxins in the food. And a lot of people in the health freedom movement said, no, that's not important. What's important are the shots, the vaccines, specifically COVID. And, we got to deal with that first. But then the food thing started coming up, with the food dyes and the Fruit Loops and all that. And then the other side, a division within MAHA. Like we all want the same thing, but this divide came in. And the other side's like the Fruit Loops and the food dyes, that's not important. Get the shots off. And that was kind of ignored. And then, other things have come in. We've got the president's fitness test now, and they're like, that's not important. Deal with the shots. And so there's this division keeps kind of going back and forth. And it's kind of like Mrs. Augustus said that, Kennedy's doing a lot. Like, he is doing a lot. The shots aren't off yet. They haven't stopped that yet. And as motion steps are being taken towards that end, there's pushback from, I think it's more than half a dozen health-related organizations, including the American Academy of Pediatrics, against that. And we have to keep some things in mind. First of all, Department of Defense project. Just like Kennedy cannot, step in and start, regulating things in the EPA or creating, policy in the EPA, he can't do it in the Department of Defense either. So next time you see Hegseth, ask him about that. Why are these shots keep going? With the EUA and these shots. Another thing people have to remember is he is standing up against with the FDA, CDC, everything under the HHS. He is up against the most powerful and the wealthiest industry on planet Earth. And to be able to do anything that is going to go up against that industry, he better make sure every T is crossed and every I is dotted. And he's really good at that. He has taken on major corporations and successfully sued and won lawsuits against them, including some of these governmental organizations in his life where he was Secretary of HHS. I agree, we've got to support him, we've got to stand behind him on all of these issues, all of these things he's doing that is for the betterment of our health. We've got to call him out on things like promoting wearables. I'm sorry, if you want to wear wearables, wear your wearables. But I don't want anything telling me, okay, you're going to have to wear a wearable or else. No. If I don't want to wear it, I'm not going to wear it. Or these, a new vaccine is going to, mimic the human immune system and be like a mold vaccine. No, develop whatever you want to, but don't come at me with that side. So, we've got to stand our ground and call him out where we feel like he's crossing the line. At the same time, we've got to support him on these other issues as well and keep the pressure on about the shots. We do have a voice. We can put the pressure on. There's a lot of ways that we can make phone calls, that we can tag him in posts. Those things, in my view, this stuff since 2003. Food dyes and other vaccines and just say, there's so many things that I've helped fight against for a very long time. I don't want to be patient anymore. I'm getting old. I want to retire. But I want him to get it right the first time, or somebody's going to come in behind him and undo everything.
Justice. I just want to kind of respond to Apothecary Carol a little bit regarding, and I totally agree with everything that you say, Apothecary Carol, but one of the things is that initially I was a little bit harsh on Brother Kennedy, but now I'm beginning to realize that this is something deeper and a little bit more nefarious and a little bit more incestuous. So when it comes to health, from the Maha approach, we're concerned, at least I'm concerned about health across the spectrum, both spiritually, intellectually, physically, emotionally. And one of the things that they've done across the board, our educational system has been poisoned, our food supply has been poisoned, our drug system has been poisoned across the board. And the way I can kind of notice a little bit, when you take a look at a guy like Fauci, all the crimes that he's been committed, he's been able to walk a free man with no consequence for what he did. Now, the nexus between him and my analysis and what I've kind of been able to deduce is why aren't these people being prosecuted? Well, you know what reveals why they're being prosecuted is the Epstein files. Because when you look at the Epstein files and the child trafficking, which is horrific in nature, what you realize is under the guise of national security, these people have been able to commit atrocities known to man and provide cover under the national security apparatus. Now, if you think in terms of Epstein, of Fauci is not only part of the National Institute of Health, but also a CIA double agent, then it makes sense because the intelligence community will protect them. So to me, we have basically a shadow government going on here that's totally taken over our complete fabric of our society that we're going up against. And this is a new, I wouldn't say this is a new animal, but it's finally revealed itself in many ways. You can't tell me for the hundreds of billions of dollars that we have spent on our national security apparatus, to this day, we can't even find out where the origination of COVID was. Let me tell you something. They know where it was. It originated as a National Security Defense Department, whatever you want to call it, National Security Agency, bioweapons, for lack of a better term. And this is the problem. And our food supply, when you get our food supply and our medicines are ultimately bioweapons to make us all sick, then it all makes sense. Because they will go at length to protect the National Security Agency overall. So we're up against something a little bit more horrific in nature. And that's why I'm a little bit more charitable to some of the guys we have out of effort to really get our country back. Because we're seeing now, despite everything up there, the national security apparatus just takes over. And I landed there.
Hey, Justice, can I respond just real quick? Brother? Brother, yeah, 100%. That is, and you are an example of the reasons why I'm watching my little piece of the puzzle. You're watching the national security apparatus. We've got people watching different pieces of the puzzle, and now we can come together. We can put our pieces on the table and see how they fit. I love that. And right now I'm doing a deep dive into the eugenics behind all the poisoning that we are undergoing. And this time we all have the power to do things in our own lives to prevent this poisoning, because I'm telling you, eugenics is real.
Yeah, let's go, Joe.
Yeah, I was actually pushing it back to talking to people like already. I know the Northeast weather forecast in my state are not vaccinating at all. And that seems to be a contagion that's because you remember that telling the media you're fired because people that they spend Georgia or the media. And now that said, do you have that wrong? feel like exactly the stuff development was a decade ago now, once I the body of life. You technical, you know, just what are the kids? You were a little healthier, but that's the one before the kids. I would even suggest that you contact them without the list for me. And I'm having a dream of Roger Wilson because I've been thinking about all the other things beyond COVID. I already have the goals, so I just need to recover the best way I can. And I'm having Japanese sports. You know, when you get better intoxicated, you become more violent. So when an accident separated from my wife, my daughter and I moved out.
Okay, this is candidate Congressman John Kitover. We're about to go live on a big Zoom live stream podcast, and I hope you enjoy it.